Hi everyone, it's Sue Plumb here to share a scrapbooking process video with you. Now for today's layout, I am actually sharing another layout for Kitaholic Kits using the February kit. Now for today's layout, I actually decided to mix things up a bit. So I am actually mixing items from several different kits on today's page. I initially started off inspired by one of the papers from the February kit, which is a beautiful floral design from crepe paper. And I decided to mix that with items from previous kits. So you can see there that I have two of the Kaisercraft paints that were included in the January kit. So there's a dusky pink colour and there's also the mango. Now, I decided to mix the two of these paints together because I was actually looking to replicate that sort of peachy rust sort of colour that is featured in the crepe paper floral paper. And I really wanted to sort of get the right shade that would complement that for my background. So I mixed together the two paints and fiddled with them a bit until I got what I thought was the right colour. And then I simply used the dry brush method and my large number 4 brush to brush some of the paint across my cardstock just to act as my background for this page. Now I had already trimmed my cardstock down to measure 11 by 11 so that it would give me a 1/2 inch border from the patterned paper around the edge. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually cutting out the middle of that paper because I don't want to waste any of it. So I'm just cutting out the center piece so that I can then use it in another area of my page. Now, the photo that I'm actually scrapping for this layout is a photo of my darling cat. Now, his name is Genghis, and like most cats, language alert, he can be a bit of an arsehole. He really can. And one of the funny quirks about our cat is he doesn't like anybody getting in his face. He can be quite affectionate and he is quite happy to come and sit on the couch and snuggle with you, but he does not like direct eye-to-eye contact. So one day there he was relaxing on the back of the couch and I decided to get right down in his face and take his photo, and that look that you can see, that's the look that he gave me. That's a typical Genghis face right there. So I decided to scrap this photo and combine it with a couple of the bits that I had seen in the ephemera pack in the February kit, and there was a cute little beehive and a few bees in there, and I thought by using them I could use the title Buzz Off and combine it with this photo of my cat looking not very happy, because that's all he really wanted from me, was to buzz off out of his face. So yeah, there you go. That's the story behind this page and where my mind went to get to where I got to. So getting back to what I'm doing, I've already got the paint down on my cardstock. I've cut the pattern paper border that's going to go behind my cardstock. And now I'm just using some of the other papers from the February kit to cut some layers to go in behind my photo and sort of define the focal area of my page. So the other papers that were in the kit, there is some Vicky Bouton papers in the kit this month. There was also an Amy Tan paper, I think. But what I just did is I went through and I drew out the papers that had those warm tones that would actually complement the warm colour in the paint, that sort of pinky, peachy colour, and pick up the warm tones of the flowers that were in that crepe paper floral paper. Yeah, so here I am fiddling around. I shuffled through the cut apart paper there. That's some of those bits and pieces are from one of the Amy Tan cut aparts. I shuffled through there just to find the ones that I thought the colours would work. And then I've just popped all the others aside and I'll use them on a different project. So I actually distressed all the layers, the edges of the layers of these papers, just to give a bit of texture to the page and create a bit of extra visual interest. And now you can see that I've gone back to that floral paper that I have used for my border. And I'm actually going to run a strip of that horizontally across the page and just cut the little end bit to create some tails so that I've got a banner that runs across the page. And I'm actually going to place that so that that horizontal line sits in behind his face, because his eyes and his facial expression is the focal point of this page. And having that horizontal line drawing through behind where his face is helps to draw the viewer's eye directly to the focal point. So, getting all the layers together, besides the pattern papers, I've got a couple of my other signature little bits and pieces there. I've got a paper doily from my stash. I've also got some frayed gauze, and I'm just going to stack all of those layers together and then secure them with a staple. You would have seen me do this before if you've watched my videos. I like securing the layers like that. It saves on adhesive because you don't have to stick down all of those layers individually. It saves on time because you don't have to stick down all of those layers individually. And it also allows you to move the stack of paper as an entire piece. And you can move it around on your background and you don't have to worry about things getting out of order. And, you know, if you do change your mind and you want to change the order, it's quite easy just to pick that staple apart and change things around. So figuring out where I'm going to place those papers on the page, you can see that I'm using my T-square there. That's my new T-square, because if you remember a previous video, I told you that I had snapped my last T-square. So that's my new one. And I'm using that T-square to help get things straight on the page. One of the things that I do like to do when I'm putting down like these anchor pieces of paper that are anchoring my design is making sure that they are straight on the page. There is nothing worse than sticking everything down and then going, oh no, I've done it crooked. So I've also placed a bit of scrap cardboard on the back of my photo, which helps pop it up from the background a bit. And I'm just using my Helmer 450 adhesive just to stick the photo down on top of the gauze. Make sure if you are using gauze, thread, or any kind of fabric like that, make sure you do use a good liquid adhesive, because if you do use tape, you will find after a period of time, if they even do stick to start, that it will actually come apart and drop off, because the tape just does not like hanging on to those threads. So here you can see those little pieces from the Jen Hadfield ephemera pack that I was talking about, which is that cute little beehive and those little bees. And I really wanted some flowers that were going to work with the colours that I was working with in this page. And I actually went back to something from the December kit. So all the flowers that you can see me using there are actually the subscriber exclusive floral printables from the December kit. So all of the December subscribers would have received these, and I printed them out just on some lightweight cardstock or some heavyweight paper, depends where you draw that fine line. And I fussy cut them, and I am just going to create 3 clusters around my photo. Again, going with that design principle of creating in threes to create balance and form that visual triangle around my focal point of my page. So I used a little bit of foam tape in behind those floral clusters just to help pop them up from the page a little and just to help frame in around the photo. So you can see that after I've stuck those initial larger pieces down, I'm going in with some of the loose flowers and I'm going in with some of the loose leaves, and I'm just sticking them in underneath just to help create those extra layers. So I've got one, as you can see, on the left of my photo. I've got the cluster down in the bottom right of my photo that also features the beehive. And then I'm going to create a little cluster also above my photo, just above the doily there, which will give me that visual triangle. Now, one of the things that I did do when I stuck all of the flowers down is I make sure that I only stick things down with adhesive or tape in the center of them, and that allows me to bend up all the leaves and the petals of the flowers, and it just gives so much more dimension to the page without actually adding too much bulk. It doesn't add thickness or layers or weight, it just gives that appearance of extra dimension and of things coming up off the page. So I tend to use my Scotch tacky glue in my fine line bottle there. That's a very well loved fine line bottle you can see there. It's been going for several years and I'm pleased to report it hasn't broken yet. And I'm just using that Scotch tacky glue just to tack down some of those extra flowers and leaves. And I'm also going to use it for the ephemera pieces for the bees. And following along with that same principle of bending up the leaves and bending up the floral petals, I'm also going to bend up the little wings on those cute little bees. Now, once I had all of those bits and pieces in place, I went back to my February kit to see what else I could find to put on this page. We do have these beautiful foam thickers in this month's kit. And the one that I chose, now there's one that's sort of a light bluey green colour there. And there's also these ones that are just sort of a white, pearly, iridescent font. I really loved those. And I love the size of these. I love that they're not too big. And I just used my T-square there just to make sure that my title was straight on the page. Now, one of the other things that really did excite me about this title, it gave me a chance to use 2 Zs, and it's not often that you get that, right? So there's my title of Buzz Off, and then I'm going into the Heidi Swap sticker book, which is from the old school collection, that is also in this month's kit. And let me tell you, that thing is jam-packed with stickers. There are so many stickers in that booklet. So I'm just looking for a couple of other little stickers that I can put on the page just to add that text element to the page. Because besides being visual, I think there should also be words scattered around layouts so that when people's eye are moving around, they've got something to read as well. So I also ironically put "This is my happy place," that sticker down the bottom there, because he really was in his happy place until I came along and disturbed him. And finishing off, what did I do to finish off? Okay, so I added a little label sticker to the right of that banner piece where I just hand wrote my journaling on. I also stamped the date down the bottom of the page. I used one of my roller stamps from my stash to stamp the phrase "Pretty Please" around the page, because pretty please buzz off. And I also added some black splatters just to help tie in with the fact that there was so much black in that photo, and tie in that dark colour so that it didn't appear so stark on the page. And other than that, that was pretty much all I did. So there is my layout combining this month's kit, the February kit, the paints from the January mixed media kit, and also some of the December subscriber exclusive floral printables. So as I said, it was quite a mashup this month. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you have enjoyed watching my process. If you have any questions, leave them down below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.